What happens when a security gate comes in contact with a Eurovan mirror? Found out today on Dub World. We had a little incident, as you can see here on my camper. So I had a security gate close, hit the mirror, and it bent it so far back. That's actually the internal portion in here. Bent it so far back that it shattered the glass. So now I've got to take this apart, fix this, and install a new glass. So this is a heated defrost mirror, and of course electric as well. The mirror panel, which I'll show you in a little bit, snaps right into here. Doesn't look like any of this broke, which is good. Here's the wiring. Here's the back of the heated mirror. Got your connections, your wiring connections. You can see the panel back here. There's the part number, in case you need it. One of the things that you have to look for around the edges here are these clips, which hold it into the mechanism. And surprisingly enough, none of these are broken, but the mirror is shattered, so it really doesn't matter at that point. So in order to take this mirror assembly completely out, we have to remove the door panel. Now, you should have a little piece that goes in right here, a little plug. This one's missing, so I don't have to worry about removing it. But, oh, there you go. You see my camper just locked itself automatically. But that does have to come out. It's got a little Allen head in there, and you just get a trim tool behind it. Pop it out after you kind of back the Allen head out. So I'm showing you the driver's side because the passenger side is missing this little clip. So this is a two-piece clip. The outer portion here, if you can get your fingernail behind it, you can actually twist it to the point where you can pull it out, and then pull the backing out, and it'll be free. I pulled it out a little bit, pushed it back in just so you can see. The other thing too is these pieces here, these little trim pieces above your door panel, can come off. I just noticed on mine that the passenger side is missing this one. You do need to take the door lock knob off. And then you got to take this cover off for your handle. It just pops in, pops out. And then you've got your Phillips head screws there. I'll go ahead and take these out, and won't bore you with the video of me taking them out. They just unscrew, no big deal. After you get your speaker grill cover off, then you've got 4 Phillips head screws to remove the speaker. There's also supposed to be a tab here and a tab here that holds the speaker aligned so that these holes are in the right spot when you go to put it back in. This tab is intact, this one is missing. Just pay attention to that. So I thought I'd show you the speaker grill is directional. It's got this little notch on one side, which, as you can see, focus is right here in the panel. So unfortunately, if you have a chip like I do in mine, you can't just turn it over and hide it, because it has to go in one way. Okay, so once you get your speaker unscrewed, of course you need to remove the connector in the back. This has a spot for 2 connectors. I don't know why, but if anybody has worked on a Eurovan before and has seen an additional plug there, let me know. What does it do? What does it go to? Speakers work, so I don't know. Anyways, once you get that speaker out, you're gonna have to remove the screws that hold this frame. And this actually screws through the door panel into the door. And there's 3 screws. Looks like this is missing one. Door panel's been off before, apparently. The speaker wiring pulls through here. It's got a little rubber grommet. So once you take that apart, you're gonna have to pull this wiring harness through the door. So that's what we'll do next. Okay, so once all that is out, just pull the panel out, and you're going to want to kind of lift up and lift down. And we've got the power window connection here, which I'll be unplugging. and then the panel will be coming off. So I wanted to show you the speaker wire down there. You just need to push it through. See, this little rubber plug goes in the panel. Here's a connector for the power window switch. But as you can see, now the panel is off. There's the inside of your door. So as you can see here, you've got two harnesses going into the mirror. So I'll be disconnecting both of these. Just a simple clip-on connector. Just squeeze and pull. Squeeze and pull. Now I have to hold the other side to make sure it comes apart. After you get it disconnected, you want to just gently work these out of the clips that they're in, so they'll be free. This has got foam here. I don't know if it's going to disintegrate or not, being that it's old and original, but we'll see what happens. Now, taking off the mirror is really simple from the outside. It just has Phillips head screws. Just got 3 right there, so I'll be taking those off. So once you get the 3 Phillips head screws out, this just simply pops off like this. Obviously you want to hold on to it, you don't want it to fall off. So now we just have to feed the power wires through the door, and then we'll have this apart. And there's that foam with the wires. There's a nice dirty door, which I'm going to clean, and then we'll start to work on this mirror here. All right, so in order to disassemble this mirror, we're going to have to take out these small Phillips screws. There's 1, 2, 3, and there's actually another one on the bottom here. So this is my first time disassembling a mirror like this, and I hope the camera focus there. Can you see that little eyelet there? There's one there, there's one here behind the wire. That is the mount for the anchor for the spring. If you look in here, you can see it coming out and the spring attaches to it. So we're gonna have to get this apart. Doesn't look like I'll be able to get the spring out from there, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so after careful consideration, looking at these loops in here, I tried to see if I could pull them up and out of this locking area, but I was afraid I might break them. Looks like there's a little bit of corrosion in there. So I figured the path of least resistance would be the best. So I've decided I'm going to tap out this roll pin that's in there and get that red bar out, stick it back in the slot, and then put the roll pin back in. So if you've never dealt with roll pins before, basically what they are is a rolled up piece of metal that splits on one end. So it's kind of like a cylinder shaped solid spring. So that metal gives a little bit to go in or out of that hole. So I've tapped it from the other side, and now I'm going to pull the rest of it out with some needle nose pliers so I don't lose it because it's really tiny. All right, so in order to hold this thing, the spring from keep kicking it back, I went in and put these vice grips on there when I opened it up fully. So you can see the roll pin is moved out of the way. I've got the little bar and the spring out, and now I'm going to try to put it back together. So I wanted to show you what this lever and spring look like. This is how they should go together. So both the open ends go on the roll pin, and the other end of the spring, I'll show you where that goes in just a second. So I wanted to show you the contortionist move I'm having to do here. So I've got the vice grips holding this assembly open. I've got these vice grips holding the spring and the safety stop in place so I could get the roll pin back in. I did not take the pin out all the way. I left it so there was a little bit of a ridge so I could put the spring back on first. A little bit of a chore trying to get this thing back together, and as you can see, I'm having to do this because I have to hold it. I don't have a vise that I could set this in, so I'm holding it with one hand against my body and using a hammer to tap it in. Okay, so it's back in. It's a pain to keep everything aligned, and that's something you'll have to do. I used a tiny screwdriver to try to keep this safety latch centered so that roll pin can be tapped back through there. And you can see, I was having to use a tap through this area here, hold it with this hand, and hammer with the other hand. But I did get it back in. I'm going to go ahead and take these vice grips off, and we'll see if the mirror is functioning normal. Yep, and it's all back together. Everything's working fine. Now I've got to reassemble this, and then we can put it back on. All right, so here's our mess we got to put back together. Got the mirror good to go. I have to get those scuffs off. Do that with some polishing compound. Maybe I'll show you guys that. But let's get going. You may want to put these screws back in before you put the mirror on, because it's just maybe a little bit easier. But I forgot because I was filming and not paying attention. So I'll be putting those in. Figure since I have the door panel off, I might as well give you a little bit of view of the back side. So your door latch mechanism, as you can see here, snaps into the door. The earlier cars have this complete body, I should say, panel colored plastic. 2002, I believe they went to chrome here. So 02 and 03. They are interchangeable though. There's your switch. You can see the insulation. And what holds this panel on are these clips here. And you can see, looks like a few of these are broken. Seems to be a common problem with these vans. Panel is pretty heavy, and that's plastic. So let's get to reassembling. These connectors just simply snap back in. You don't need to worry about pushing on these. This is only for release. So just get them back into their little slots in here. And I'd say be careful because these plastic pieces are old and they can break. I'm trying to not break this. But I'll have to do, there we go. That one wasn't easy. There we go. It's a little difficult to try to do it one-handed on that one. So these are back in. Then we'll be able to connect the window, connect the speaker, and we'll be good to go. One tip I could add here is you can take off this trim piece on your door panel, and when you're going to align this panel, just stick your finger in there and hold that in the center and get the panel on. What I would do then is thread the lock like this into that and then snap this down. That way it's easy to get everything on. Wanted to point something out to you here. If you see up top there, right up here, there's a little plastic tab. Your speaker goes over that tab. That helps align it so that the screw holes are right where they need to be. So make sure when you're putting this on, you pay attention to those tabs. One on the bottom here is broken, so I only have one, but you would have two on there. Again, that aligns your holes so you can reassemble. All right, so we have everything pretty much reassembled. Last thing we have to do is put this trim piece back on. I'm not really sure why, but on a lot of these vans, when I see these trim pieces on, they don't fit flush. Not sure why that is. They've got a groove that they have to fit into. You just kind of slide it and snap it in place. This one fits pretty well, but a lot of times I see ones that have a large gap in here. You just want to make sure you've got everything tight. Again, I don't have this clip here, but panel should be nice and tight. Even with those broken clips, the screws that are behind the speaker hold this panel to the door. It keeps it nice and firm. It's not going to rattle. We just have that one last screw to put in right there, and then we're done. So once you get everything back together, you want to make sure that you've connected everything properly, and things like your window works, and also that your mirror still functions. And then you know you're good to go. So here's our slightly completed mirror. We've got everything back together. The spring functions working properly again. And next on the list will be to clean up these marks. Well. Got to replace this mirror. I was able to find a glass only and not this heated pad, so saved me quite a bit of money. So we're going to swap this out. Note to self: mirror glue works really well. So this mirror was the glass was falling off this pad when I first got the camper, and I used I don't even remember what it was that I used, but anyways, it was a mirror adhesive of some sort. And as you can see here, this stuff is really strong. Look at these pieces of glass. I've been trying to break this out for about an hour. As I mentioned before, saving some money just by replacing this glass, but in reality, the amount of time it's taken me to pull this off, it would probably been better just to buy the whole thing. So if you've had a repair on yours, I'd probably recommend buying the whole thing. If not, knock yourself out trying to get the old glass off. But let's see what we can do. Yeah, so here it is with all the glass off. You can see the glue that was on there before. What a pain that was. And here's the new glass right here. I'm gonna put it on. Comes with this silicone sealant. And this is the brand here. B Plus Original. Ready guys. So here's the new glass installed. That looks really good. It even has the objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. And here's the finished product. I was able to get pretty much all of the scuffs out. There was a little bit of paint chipping, but for the most part, came out pretty good. I was impressed with how well this mirror housing actually held up to being hit by that metal gate. That's it for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you watching the video. Sorry it's been a while since I've posted. There's been so much going on and still taking care of some things after my move. I really appreciate all of you who watch the videos, especially for everyone who subscribes. Right now, I think the analytics show that about 95% of the people who watch the videos are not subscribed. When you subscribe to the channel, you actually help the channel get noticed more. You help the channel grow. So I'd appreciate it if you could do that, or like and comment on the videos. That helps as well. As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Double World.